Have you ever heard of a story so strange, so unbelievable, that it makes you question everything you thought you knew about history? Today, we're diving deep into the world of arts or out-of-place artifacts. These are objects that have been found in places or time periods where they just shouldn't exist, challenging our understanding of the past and hinting at forgotten technologies or even lost civilizations. Imagine you're digging in your backyard and you find a modern smartphone buried in a layer of rock that's millions of years old. That's the kind of mystery we're talking about. While that exact scenario hasn't happened, some real discoveries are just as baffling. Get ready, because we're about to explore some of the most famous and mind-bending artifacts ever unearthed. Let's start with a classic, the Antikythera mechanism. In 1901, divers, exploring an ancient Roman shipwreck off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera, discovered a lump of corroded bronze. For decades, nobody knew what it was. It looked like a jumble of gears and dials, nothing like the statues and pottery usually found in such wrecks. It wasn't until the 1970s, with the help of X-ray technology, that researchers began to understand its true purpose. This wasn't just a simple tool. It was an incredibly complex astronomical calculator, an ancient analog computer. It could predict the positions of the sun, moon, and planets, track the cycles of the moon, and even predict solar and lunar eclipses. The level of engineering and astronomical knowledge required to build this device is staggering. Its gears, some with teeth just a millimeter long, were crafted with a precision that scholars believed was impossible for the ancient Greeks. In fact, nothing of this complexity would appear again in the historical record for over 1,000 years, until the astronomical clocks of medieval Europe. So, how did a civilization from over 2,000 years ago create a device that seems to belong in a completely different era? It's a question that still fascinates scientists and historians today. Was it a one-of-a-kind genius invention, or is it the only surviving example of a lost technological tradition? Now let's travel from ancient Greece to 19th century ancient Egypt. In 1898, in a tomb in Saqqara, Egypt, a small wooden object was discovered. It was dated to around 200 BC. For years, it sat in the Cairo Museum, labeled simply as a wooden bird model. And at first glance, that's what it looks like. It has a beak, eyes, and a bird-like body. But look closer, and things get weird. The wings are not shaped like a bird's wings. They're straight and have an airfoil cross-section, much like the wing of a modern airplane. Most tellingly, the tail is vertical, not horizontal, like a bird's. It looks more like the rudder of a plane. Could this be more than just a toy? Some aviation experts and enthusiasts believe it's a model of an ancient glider. Replicas were built, and tests have shown that with a proper horizontal stabilizer, which might have been a missing piece, the design is aerodynamically sound and capable of gliding. Did ancient Egyptians understand the principles of flight long before the Wright brothers? While most Egyptologists maintain it's a stylized depiction of a falcon, a religious symbol, the Saqqara bird remains a tantalizing what if for those who dare to imagine a different version of history. Let's dig even deeper into the past, into the age of dinosaurs. In 1968, in Utah, a fossil hunter named William Meister made a discovery that, if true, would shatter our entire understanding of human history. While searching for trilobite fossils, he broke open a slab of shale. Inside, he found something impossible. A clear imprint of a sandal, stepping right on top of a trilobite. Trilobites are ancient marine creatures that went extinct about 250 million years ago, long before dinosaurs even appeared, and hundreds of millions of years before the first humans were thought to have evolved. The fossil shows what looks like the outline of a shoe, complete with a heel, crushing the tiny trilobite. How could a human footprint, or at least a shoe print, be in a rock layer that old? Mainstream geologists argue that it's a natural rock formation, a case of spalling where a piece of rock breaks off in a shape that just happens to resemble a footprint. It's a classic example of pareidolia, our brain's tendency to see patterns in random shapes. But for others, the Meister print is undeniable evidence of time travelers or a forgotten ancient human civilization that walked the earth alongside these prehistoric creatures. What do you see when you look at it? A coincidence of nature, or a footprint from a time that shouldn't exist? Let's move on to another metallic mystery, the Kozo artifact. In 1961, 3 rock hunters were searching for geodes, in the Coso Mountains of California. They found a promising-looking rock, and later, when one of them tried to cut it open with a diamond saw, the blade was ruined. Inside the hard rock, they found something astonishing: a perfectly formed ceramic cylinder enclosing a metal rod. X-rays of the object revealed it looked remarkably like a modern spark plug. The problem: geologists who examined the rock encasing it estimated it to be around 500,000 years old, a spark plug from 500,000 years ago. The story became a legend in paranormal and creationist circles. However, the artifact itself has since disappeared, making further scientific study impossible. Skeptics have proposed a more down-to-earth explanation. The object was identified by spark plug collectors as a 1920s champion spark plug. They argue that it wasn't found inside a 500,000-year-old geode, but rather inside a concretion, a hard mass of mineral matter that can form relatively quickly around a man-made object. Given that there was old mining activity in the Coso Mountains, it's plausible that an old spark plug was dropped, and over a few decades, rust and minerals formed a hard shell around it. Without the artifact to study, we're left with a tantalizing mystery. A piece of lost, ancient high-tech, or just a rusty piece of 20th century junk. From ancient calculators to potential prehistoric gliders and impossible fossils, these artifacts challenge us to keep an open mind. While science can offer plausible, conventional explanations for many of them, they continue to fire our imagination. They remind us that history is not a closed book. It's a vast, sprawling story with missing pages and undeciphered chapters. Maybe some of these objects are simply hoaxes or misinterpretations, but maybe, just maybe, one of them is the key to unlocking a secret about our past that we never even dreamed was possible. What do you think is the most compelling out-of-place artifact? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your theories. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the unexplained. If you enjoyed exploring these historical mysteries, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world's greatest enigmas. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.